LMGs or light machine guns, a term that some will debate or overanalyze to the T to dismiss a lot of competition and to limit confusion. The LMG is quite effectively one of, if not the most effective weapon in any airsoft game where they are allowed, which is fitting as this matches their real-life counterparts. Any AEG user, or skilled pistol user for that matter, can lay down momentary fire to suppress an enemy. However, an LMG will do its job and hold down that area as long as the magazine allows it. I do wonder though how an airsoft game would look like if over 300 players all had that ability. Nonetheless, for this countdown, I wanted to put together a list of the best LMGs to choose from for airsoft, so maybe someone out there can make a much more intelligent decision on their next platform. For this, I'll be paying attention to a few core elements when ranking an LMG. Magazine size, magazine compatibility, weight, support / parts accessibility, and most importantly, affordability. The LCT M60 and the M1919 by RWA may look great and be made like Brock Lesnar, but it's a little hard-fetched to find someone willing to drop that kind of money on a whim. I'd also like to apologize in advance if I mess up the classification of a gun or two. I obviously know that the M27 IAR by H&K is not an LMG, and that hardly anyone actually uses it for that playstyle, so that won't be ranked anywhere on this show. But I can't say that I don't get some heavy MGs mixed in from time to time despite trying to be sure about things. With that said, I like to begin this top 5 with one of the oldest contenders, the M60. This is the gun of Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Charlie Sheen, and even Weird Al Yankovic. The M60 has been made and remade by many different manufacturers, including Anakatsu, VFC, Top, Star, Ares, LCT, ASG, and the most popular models being from A&K. The 60 seems to be lesser seen nowadays, but for those looking for one, then you wouldn't be left in the dust when it comes to parts and knowledge that might be needed to build, repair, or work on your support weapon since the M60 has been around for so long. There are videos on just about every topic when it comes to the M60. Weight is a bit on the heavy end for most of the full metal variants, so this might not be the right weapon for younger or smaller players. Magazines can also be a bit of a hit and miss, as the A&K model magazine is nothing more than a cardboard box wrapped in a canvas, while others can be made from some more durable plastic. But they all seem to hold a substantial amount of BBs at about 3,500 rounds, but you will pay around $65 for each box magazine. I'd recommend buying an extra magazine just in case, but you should be good for any normal skirmish game with a single M60 magazine. If not, then just dump a bottle of BBs into the magazine like you would with the tube of paintballs into a hopper. Altogether, a good M60 setup can cost you anywhere from $400 to $500, so I can't say it's the cheapest way to go when it comes to running support, nor is it the kind of weapon I'd recommend to a newer player or someone looking for their first gun. But if you end up running a classic M60 Vietnam model, then you might be able to make up for the money that you spent with the amount of fun that you have reenacting your favorite movies. It's a classic. It's something that you can let your imagination run wild with. It's the M60. Next up at number 4, we have even more firepower with the sacrifice in comfortability, or at least that's my opinion shining through. The PKM and its PKP companion both offer a great advantage in ammo threshold, as the PKM offers one of the largest magazines in the airsoft world at about 5,000 rounds, so expect to spend some money on BBs. This is great when you really need to hold down an area as a force multiplier, which can be useful when you either need to retreat for dear life while holding down the trigger on full auto, or when you need to use full auto to keep an enemy busy as team members rush his location. The PKM doesn't really offer much as a handguard to hold on to, as it's made to be thrown down on its bipod to be fired. However, I've seen players just hold on to the large magazine so they can run and gun with it, but this does look pretty awkward. This is where the PKP offers an advantage by being more accepting of aftermarket attachments. The PKM is a bit more expensive to run, from the gun to the overgrown magazine. However, the advantage of more ammo on the field seems to be worth it, as the PKM is much more common to see than the M60. The length, weight, and expense does hold this platform back. The version 8 gearbox is also limiting to a common tech, but I've seen these modded into monsters since they're compatible with most version 2 parts. They also make for great HPA platforms when all else fails. But remember, the weight and length are staggering, and it also makes for a poor choice for any beginner. Keep watching though, because I've got a legendary platform for anyone looking into becoming a support gunner. It's a shame that I can't list a few of my favorite guns on this countdown. I mean, the L86A2 LSW is just delicious to look at. And for Airsoft, having the ability to use M4 magazines is a major advantage that the PKM or M60 can't utilize. The potential for a great long-range build is also a pro with the L86, but magazine size can be limiting since using a beta-style magazine or a drum with a bullpup can be pretty uncomfortable. The MG42 is another option that didn't quite beat the M60 from the 5th spot, since the most accessible model by S&T is known for having a lot of issues in its construction and internal flaws. It looks great, but it sadly can't perform as well or last as long in one piece without taking extensive care of the weapon. I've seen many S&T MG42s and something is always wrong with them. But hey, maybe you're the minority and you actually have an MG42 by S&T that's perfect. If so, then congratulations. It still stands as one of the most iconic firearms in the real world though, so that's good. Moving along, number 3 is without a doubt the most popular LMG in Airsoft by many miles. It is very versatile, it's one of the most supported platforms, and A&K has sold them like hotcakes since they first hit the market, putting them in the unofficial top 10 most sold Airsoft guns to my knowledge. This is the M249 Squad Automatic Weapon. Provided by GMP, Classic Army, A&K, and more, the standard M249 SAW is much more mobile than the M60, the PKM, and even the M240 Bravo. The M249 has been produced in just about every popular variant, from the Para, the Mini-Me with full stocks and barrels to collapsible stocks and shortened barrels. Modularity is strong with this platform as parts are easy to change up and widely available, and if you ever have a problem with your M249, I'm sure you'll get it fixed fast or know someone that actually knows how to work on one. For magazines, the M249 really excels thanks to the ability to run either standard 2400 round box magazines, smaller cartridge pouches that hold just about the same, or even STANAG M4 magazines. And these M4 magazines can go right into the side of the M249 without any issue. This gives you no reason to run dry at any military simulation game, as the M4 is the most popular platform in the Airsoft world, and it gives you the choice to either carry a couple box magazines or just a whole loadout's worth of M4 magazines. The M249 can be customized to any extent, HPA'd, or used to run and gun like you're in a video game, and the support is massive for this platform. And that's what I would expect from probably the most popular LMG in the Airsoft world. I'd really recommend this platform to players looking into getting into a supportive role for sure. However, 2 other supportive weapons are even easier to work with. So let's see why the RPK is at the runner-up spot. This support weapon and the next is either going to make the most sense to most people or cause a lot of rage in the comments. And I'm probably going to see people saying that these last 2 aren't even LMGs, but here we go. At number 2, we have the RPK. Plain and simple, the RPK is just a longer barreled AK with some cosmetic changes here and there when it comes to Airsoft, but in most scenarios and even events, it's regarded as a light machine gun. Being just a variant of an already well-established platform helps the RPK become a common piece to see on the field. The variety of magazines can vary from standard AK mags, huge high caps that will make this weapon tip over if you let it sit on its bipod, and even drum magazines. These are all easy to swap and won't take much time to reload, since you don't need to worry about hoses, screws, or tight rails holding your magazine into place. It's also very lightweight at about 7 to 9 pounds, as well as being very affordable at around $250 for the most expensive models. SEMA RPKs have been long considered the most affordable, so I'd really recommend one of those if you're on a budget, and I'd really recommend the LCT model if you have a little bit more money to throw around. In all aspects, the RPK is affordable, versatile, and easy to upgrade. Trust me when I say this, you'll do your team a lot of good if you're running an RPK with a couple 2500 round drum mags, and you won't spend that much doing it. This might seem a little short, but really listing any more reasons as to why running an RPK is a smart idea would be redundant. So for this last platform, I'd say it goes pretty hand in hand with the runner-up, and it's more of a choice, a preferred platform on which one is your favorite. You might like the AK more, so you go with the RPK unless you have the muscle mass to run around a PKM. But for this countdown, I'd say that the Shrike is the best logical platform for an LMG when it comes to airsoft.
Well, obviously the Crytek is the best. If a Crytek could, then I'd let a Crytek date my girlfriend while I watched. My Crytek is always better. Even if your Crytek can shoot a fly from the sky a mile away after you shoot it with your middle toe, mine is still better. Don't even try to compare yourself to me, kid.
Yes, the Crytek LMG was voted and praised the most when I asked which LMG was the best on my Instagram. Just like how the RPK is a great platform for being a variant of the AK, the Shrike is naturally going to top it because the M4 is the most popular platform in our game. You may not like that, but you can't deny the truth. You can do just about anything you want with this gun. You can mod it to become a high rate of fire dual sector gear build, HPA it, mod it for range, or run normal M4 mags out of it to lose some weight. You can just let your mind run wild here. The Crytek LMG has exploded since their release, and with an easy upper swap, you can turn it into just about any Crytek rifle you'd like. Any longtime airsofter will tell you, you can turn an M4 into basically any other M4 that you want to, and this means a lot for the Crytek LMG. Version 2 gearbox parts are infinite it seems, magazine swaps and ammo threshold is great for the box magazines, price can be a little much for some people on a budget, so it's not the best in that category, but the versatility in weight, size, mods, and its potential is simply unmatched. I don't want to sound like I don't prefer people to use different guns on the field, but I see the Shrike as the smartest decision when it comes to getting an LMG. Like I mentioned earlier, the L86 or even the M27 can accept M4 magazines like a Shrike, but some events don't count the M27 IAR as an LMG, and the L86 doesn't have the modularity that the M4 based Shrike does from both the outside and inside. And that's why I'd recommend a Crytek LMG if you're looking for the smartest choice for an LMG. So if we go down the list, the M60 got the 5th spot for its iconic look, for its easy to load large box magazines, and for its variety. The PKM then topped it for having a much larger magazine, but it was hurt by its price, size, and weight, which may be a problem to some players out there. The M249 SAW then took the 3rd spot for being the most popular LMG in Airsoft, and for having the most variety out of anything else on this list. Being able to use standard M4 magazines also helped secure its rank. The RPK then took the runner-up spot for being a lightweight, cheap, and easy to feed platform that I'd actually recommend to newer players who want to be a hero amongst the team. Then the Shrike landed the top spot for being a part of the most supported platform in all of Airsoft. Aftermarket parts and magazine compatibility is power in our game, and the Shrike is sitting pretty in those regards. The top spot can be swapped around depending on how you like to shake your stick. Some will choose the RPK, and some will choose a Crytek LMG, and that's alright. That's what makes our game special, when we pick different guns and gear to run and stop being so cookie cutter, because we let our impressions blind us that we're playing a game of tag with toy guns. We're not in the real military going up against any real life determining struggles, and I hate when players get so serious about what they're actually doing. Never be an elitist, people. No one likes the elitists in our game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this countdown, but please comment down below what you run as a supportive gunner and why. Tell me why you run the gun that you choose and why you picked it in the first place, or tell me which one you'd like to get first. I try to read every comment, so let's start some discussions. I'd also like to thank F1 Airsoft Custom Gunworks for being the channel's first ever donator. He donated $6 in the last video, and I really appreciate that. I'll be putting those $6 into a fund to build a new PC so I can really improve my content, since my equipment can't really run anything too complex when it comes to my videos. If at all you'd like to join the donation club, then go ahead and click on the super chat button in the live chat when you see this video premiere, and then do as you please. Anything is appreciated, and I'll be sure to include you into the club and keep tabs on your names so I can thank you properly. Other than that, big shoutouts to the notification squad for always turning in early. Big shoutouts to every one of these sexy commenters, and to everyone who spanks that dirty like button because it greatly helps me out. I hope you enjoyed yourself and got a little knowledge from this countdown. But until that next video drops from the city of San Antonio, this has been Scott Hollenbeck, and I will be sure to see you all next time.